Hello, 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 world. This is Shruti Pandey. And after all these years of me wanting to have this podcast, to record this podcast, fighting with the universe, I think
Mm.
I finally have Erika. And it's so amazing to finally have her and talk to her and record this podcast because I know, and I think you who are watching also know that you would get so much to learn from her journey. She's been an amazing, as I call a legendary tester. And couple of years she's been coaching so many of us wonderful people. So kudos to you. You're something else, Erika. You're like a
Ugh.
ball of fire or ball of energy. I don't know, or both.
Oh my gosh, thank you. You are so kind. I'm so excited to be here and in conversation with you. It took way too long for us to get here, but I'm so glad we're here.
Good things take time.
True.
Good
This is
things
so
take
true.
time.
This is
So
so
I think
true.
it's the right time because the world we are living in and the things that are happening. I think this is the
Mm.
best time to record this podcast and with a person, with a leader like Erica. There's so much to talk about. There's influential leadership, there's coaching, there is testing. But you know what? One thing which I like the most about you is one of your point of view, and I'm going to read it out as is because it's so amazing. If you're a woman in tech. You didn't get confidence handed to you. You built it. I loved it. I loved it. The moment I read it, I was like, okay, only she can say something like that. And yeah, it was not handed to us. We built it.
No,
So
no.
let's start with, your transformation journey. If for people who know it, who don't know it, let's start with that. What
Goodness. Uh, let's see. How
No
far do we
worries, we can record many multiple parts of this podcast. You don't have to worry.
No worries. I started off in development. Well, actually, before that, I started off in help desk, customer care for Microsoft. And then I moved to uh, desk side support. So I was working on hardware. And during the time that I was doing that, people would, if I came across somebody and they said, "Oh, what do you do?" And I was like, "I work on computers." And it was at the time when the internet was really starting to boom and people were building websites and all this stuff. And they're like, "Oh, you build websites. Can you build me a website?" And I was like, "No, I don't build websites." I said, "I work on computers. That's not the same thing." But I decided I heard that response so much that I needed to teach myself how to build websites because clearly that's where it was going. So I taught myself how to build websites and then I got a job building websites. And then I just continued to grow my skills in that domain, moved into tech leadership, leading development teams. And um, during that time when I was in leadership, got I got really annoyed by our quality and I complained about it as though it wasn't my fault, like our team's responsibility. I was like, our quality sucks. And somebody needs to fix this. Like, this is ridiculous. And the leaders were like,
But
well, you fix it. And I said, absolutely not. Absolutely not. You're not going to blame me for the quality problems. Absolutely not. Right. And there were some conversations, some
I can't
dinners.
believe you said that. I can't believe that was you. That was a
Yeah,
different
I know,
you.
right? Crazy, crazy. There was we had conversations over time, and this is me talking to the CEO and the executive leadership, and there was some bribes. There may or may have been some alcohol, and that may have been when I said yes, because I was like, don't drink. Um, but I agreed to open the company's first official quality organization and lead that. And I fell in love with quality. Absolutely fell in love with it. The organization, the process, the strategy, what it took to lift quality and build it into an organization. I was in love and I never looked back. So I moved from development into quality during that window, and it's been my heart ever since.
That is so
Well,
amazing. And the one thing which I love most about the culture in the US is the fact that people can transition from whatever they were doing to whatever they want to do or whatever they
mm.
stumble onto.
That's
That's
not always the case. That's
no.
not always, no, that is not common. It is not as common as maybe it sounds.
Okay.
It depends on the company, the culture. Some companies do it really, really well where they thrive and they cultivate that in their people. go where your passions are fed. That's something I'm always looking for in my team. Like, are
Right.
your passions fed here in this role, in this project with this team of people? You know, but not all companies are like that.
Wow.
It, you know, sometimes you have to make pivots and you have to scale down before you can scale back up. And when you're really passionate about making a pivot.
Right.
Um, but yeah, doesn't it's not always.
Oh, you made it sound so easy. I was like, oh, this, and not you, a couple of more people. It made me think about the fact that probably it's just a cultural thing, that it's
No,
not very
it's not
acceptable or
common.
easy in India because it's not even easy for the individual trying that experiment, right? You're just like a
Yeah.
guinea pig. Okay, set this thing for up for me, and okay, let's see how this goes.
Let's
But
see how it
it's
goes.
it's not
No.
easy. So help me understand. You've transformed yourself so much from the fact that you were at Microsoft, like Microsoft, and you started off with different things. You're building websites which you never knew of, and then you're into development, quality. How did your coaching thing happen? Like, how did you decide
Oh,
that this is what is my calling, or this is what I'm
you
supposed to do,
know,
or this is
so um right before COVID, somebody said my name in a room that I wasn't in. Stacy Kirk. She's the CEO of Quality Works,
okay,
and she does amazing talks. She's been running her company for years now. And she was speaking to Allison Wade, who runs Star East and West, right? The Star conferences.
right?
She had reached out to her for a talk, and Stacy was like, I'm not available, but you should reach out to Erica. Now, here's the thing. At that time, I had maybe done two conference talks, and I was like, never again. They were horrible. I hated them. Allison reaches out to me and says, would you be open to doing a keynote
Oh,
and at our Star conference? And I was like, I'm in this moment of yes. I don't know where it came from, but I said yes, which was absolutely wild for me.
right.
And I said yes. And it was because somebody said my name in a room that I wasn't in. Somebody said, you should check out this person. I believe that there's value there, you know?
And not just
Um,
you mentioned your name, she mentioned it in a good way. That's the
yeah,
thing.
right, in a good way, exactly. And so I said yes, and I went on this journey to have my goal was I want to have the best keynote ever because perfectionism, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I was told that the keynote was great. Allison came back and told me that like the numbers for the reviews on the keynote were really solid. And she said, we don't usually share this, but the reviews were really great and gave me the numbers, right? And I was like, wow, thank you. But after that, that started me down a journey of speaking. Well, that journey of speaking then led me to conversations on LinkedIn, which led me to conversations over Zoom, which led me to people saying, hey, could I talk to you more regularly? Which led to, well, do you do like coaching or anything like that? So it was really this kind of organic thing that happened where I just wanted to be of service. Somebody said they wanted to ask a question, wanted to get my thoughts, right? Wanted to see if I could help them with something. Um, and I showed up for the conversation, and then that turned into coaching. And then
Amazing.
um, the coaching has always been referral and word of mouth. Um, and over the years, I've been doing it for 8, almost going on 9 years now. And over those years, I've coached women who were junior quality folks to senior executive quality leaders to executive product leaders, data scientists, just in tech that were like, I just need I need a different framing. I need to either get out of my head or like, how do I move past this thing? Or just how do I turn the box is a phrase I love to use. How do I look at it from a different perspective? When you think about picking up a cereal box, you see all the pretty pictures on the front. When you turn the box, you see the ingredients, right? you know
Yeah.
so that's kind of how I got into coaching, and I've always loved it. This is the one thing in my life that I have said confidently, I'm really, really good at it. And there's not anything that I am that bold with, because I try to be a humble person. But if you were to say like, what's the thing that you're excellent at? Immediately I'll say coaching women. I'm amazing
Wow.
at, right? Like I can get into a conversation in 30 minutes and the woman on the other side of the conversation saying, I didn't expect to get that much value in just 30 minutes. Thank you. Right? So that's how I moved into coaching and I absolutely love it.
So let me ask you a trick question. If it were like coaching versus testing, what would you pick? Sorry.
Testers. Coaching testers.
Smart. I loved it. I loved it. I actually wanted to ask you, how did you get
Yeah.
your initial customers? But you actually helped me understand, that from conferences, this is how it kept
Yeah.
building. And you gave an extremely amazing framework. Let me ask you something which I faced. So during COVID, when, LinkedIn suddenly blew up for most of us, and we are talking with everybody everywhere, and it's happening. It's amazing. You're trying to be of service and you're trying to help. I've tried that a couple of times, and people after a while, they are just so pushy and they just want you to be available and help me solve this problem. And they're not giving you a single penny. How do you handle such a kind of a person and, navigate? Let me ask you that question.
Well,
Or
that's
has that
that's
ever happened with you in the beginning where people were, not
sure.
paying, just talking, and suddenly it transformed into a business? So how did you navigate this situation? And
Well, it was because it was twofold. It was the
okay,
people that wanted to honor my time naturally, that
amazing.
they were just like, can I pay to be in the room with you? Right? They just wanted to honor my time, right? Because they wanted that access and they knew the best way to do that was to pay for it, right? And then the people that didn't, I I would I would invite them into a conversation, right? So because people were saying, "Can I pay?" I'm like, "Oh, I guess yeah. Sure, we can do that, right?" And so that created it was the necessity to create the thing.
Right.
So then when the other people were in the conversation and wanted that, I said, "Oh, well, I have a coaching program. I'd love to partner with you. I'd love to work with you. Let me know if this is something you're interested in." And if they were, they'd come in. And if they didn't want to pay. Well, they knew to get the access that they wanted,
Right.
right? But it was because the people that had the heart for, I want to honor you by paying you for your time, that created the space for me to recognize in myself, right? That this was a thing. Like, oh, okay,
That feels so refreshing, right? Because when other person understands your worth and respects
yeah.
your time, it's, that feels
Hmm.
great. Uh,
Yeah.
and again, I would like to bring the cultural thing here. People here would want things to be free forever. It shouldn't work that way, right? Because after a while, it starts feeling like, oh, you're using me or you're using my
Yeah.
time. And, everybody is not having that much time to give to everyone.
Right, right,
Service, I
right.
can do that, but it takes so much of energy, right? If you
Yeah,
you know this better than most people, that it takes so much of your soul, a part of you, a part of so much of your energy and vibe.
yeah.
So, do you think it's a cultural thing when people here basically feel that, okay, things should be free? Because I have never heard most people who would come up and say, I would want to honor your time. That is so refreshing and respecting, I would say.
Um, no, I've had several clients from India who have reached out and
Right.
they have led with,
No, no,
right?
no. That's a different story. Because for
Mm.
for them, you're American, you're not Indian.
Well, then I couldn't tell you, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
if the response is,
Yeah.
if the response is like, well, I'm working with an American, so there's a different expectation,
Correct.
right? I couldn't tell you. I can tell you how when I have worked with people from the Indian culture,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah. Yeah.
but I can't say that those, there have been a few that just, tap in. They will come in my LinkedIn, hey, can I just have a conversation? But it's not just it's not. just Indian.
It could be anybody.
It's anybody, right? There are people that come in and they'll, every 6 months, can I just have a conversation? And they've never done coaching with me. Can I have a conversation? And if I have capacity, I
Right.
will give them time. But I know to protect my energy in that space, right? So there is something that you have to honor yourself first before you expect others to do the same, right? And setting those boundaries
Yeah.
is acceptable. It doesn't mean you're a bad person. If they take it that way, that's on them. Because you
Okay.
have to have boundaries. You can't you I can't just I won't just give myself away
Yeah.
to everybody because I have boundaries.
Yeah.
And so if I have somebody, there's somebody on my calendar who regularly comes in every 6 to 8 months, schedules a meeting, and then somebody else comes through that is new or has expressed a deep need or a client or something like that, and they need that time, I'll be like, hey, I need to shift this time.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I apologize for pestering so much on this particular topic, but it was important because, sometimes as women, irrespective of where we are, as testers for that matter, we have that habit of, okay, let me take this, let me take this. Even if my plate is full, let me take this. But, hearing this out loud and this coming from a person like you, I think people will listen. Like, it's so important to set your boundaries and to protect your energy.
Yeah.
And if not now, when?
Setting, yeah, setting boundaries is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
And that's oftentimes what happens for women is it's
Yeah.
perceived as a bad thing. You set boundaries, you're too aggressive, you are argumentative, those type of things. But when in reality is that you have told somebody that this is a boundary that you will not go across. I had a conversation. I had a conversation with somebody recently,
Yeah.
so very frustrated, and he told me that I was screaming at him. He said, "You need to go back and listen. I would never work with you would never work with a client that treated you like this, that spoke to you like this." And I said, he was a salesperson.
Wow.
And I said, "What you're experiencing is that I've given you a boundary that I've told you I do not want you to cross, and you continually attempt to cross it. And I'm telling you to back off. And because I am becoming more firm about that boundary with
Right.
each time that you try to cross it, now you're telling me I'm screaming when I'm just being assertive to
Yeah.
the boundary that I am allowed to set for myself, right? So it is people who respect your boundaries will not see it as a negative thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Now that's leadership by example. Thank you. Thank you. You didn't have to get that example out loud, right? But you did. I highly, highly appreciate it. And let me ask you one crucial question at this point.
Mm,
We keep reading these researches and reports which keep coming from here and there that women are so much needed in the tech world right now.
mm.
Women in 2030, this and that. Yet when we see another reports, we basically find that women are dropping out of leadership roles. So, what do you think is really happening? I mean, there is no support for women. If I were to say that, generalizing, I'm sorry if I'm hurting anybody, but
No,
there are so many things, right? There are so many aspects. So, why is it that women are dropping out of leadership roles when there are clearly many ambitious leaders out there?
because we're tired. We're so tired. So
Can you
tired of
say
the
that
fight.
again?
We're so tired of the fight. And here's the thing, it's a combination. It's not just women dropping out, it's women being pushed out. Last year, nearly 1 million women were pushed out of the workforce via layoffs and then other nefarious things, right? Like that wasn't women saying I don't want to be in the workforce.
Yeah.
That was women getting pushed out. Um, there's, for the US, a lot of politics involved in that conversation,
Yeah.
you know, um, but it is women, I think, being fed up with having to fight to be seen, to be heard, to be valued. Um, but the challenge is that the way that we're fighting is also burning us out because we're thinking, okay, well, um, boys were taught to be brave. I heard this before, and girls were taught to be good. Good meant quiet, not arguing, not talking back, right? Not showing off. Boys were taught to be brave. Brave is going to brave is going to be bold. That's showing off women, right? Brave is going to stand up for themselves. That's being argumentative for women. Okay, so these cultural concepts, stereotypes for how a man should and can show up versus how a woman can show up, and a woman, because that concept of be good, be a good girl shows up as don't argue. It shows up as do your work, get good grades, keep your heads down. Well, we go into our work environment and we do the work.
Yeah,
We get good grades, performance reviews. We meet the goals, the OKRs, the KPIs.
yeah.
And we're told, ugh, I shouldn't even say this, but we're told that we're being a good girl, pat on the head. But we're not seeing the promotion that goes along with it because our conversation is not bold. Our conversation does not create visibility, right? We're not positioning our impact and our value. We're just talking about the fact that we've done what we were told to do.
But what if we are bold, or what if we are assertive and we show up things and the numbers? What happens to those cases?
You know, it
I,
is
for
going,
myself, has done that, so I know that there might be some more. So
yeah.
there are people. So what happens to those? I mean,
Well,
I remember one of this manager who has had worked in US and UK for 10 years respectively. And every time I would ask him, sir, this is how much I'm putting in my efforts, and this is blah blah blah, whatever the things I was doing. And his response would be, why do you need a hike? You stay with your parents. Or why do you need a hike? All your money goes in a handbag or a lipstick. That's not your problem.
no, no,
And if I
no.
if I work at a JP Morgan Chase, I have to look a certain way, right?
Yeah. But that's
Yeah,
not that's still
exactly.
not what is
It,
the impact, right? And so you are you in a room that values
yeah,
what you bring, not um not validates it, but acknowledges it. And there's a difference because if you're looking for validation, you're looking for somebody to say you've done a good job, thank you. But that's never really what we're looking for. We're looking for acknowledgement, and acknowledgement comes with promotion and pay.
absolutely.
Right? So it's a different conversation, and it's how we respond in those conversations. And even like what you said was, here's what I've done. Here are the things that I've done. Here's what I've achieved. No, what is the business outcome?
Yeah,
Right? That's a different conversation because when you said, here's what I've done, you're saying, I'm checking the boxes, I'm performing, I'm doing well. And they can't afford to lose you in that space. They want to keep you right there because, great, we know that she will get it done right here.
yeah, yeah.
Not she will build value and an impact for the business long term. So we need to move her up to be more strategic.
Yeah. So again, let me ask you something more on this, and I'm
Mm.
enjoying this. Don't get me wrong, okay? I'm not trying to offend you in any way. So I've
No,
done
no.
that also. Like that Shruti was couple of years back. So what you talked about, business impact, and people, you keep listening to this as if you were sitting on my place and we were doing this as a coaching session, okay? So this helps you even more. So I did give the business impact and everything, and I'm
Yeah,
working at the startup, and it's just filled with, that toxic culture and narcissistic people who just like to like,
that's
why
different.
are you shining? Why are you shining? And why is everybody praising you? Now, what to do in that situation? Like, just walk away, quit, or find another job? How do you handle
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. You need to understand this is where it comes into treat your career like a business. When you treat your career like a business, you have goals. You have a roadmap. You have OKRs, you are checking in on your performance every quarter. You know what is needed, what you need to be working on. So what you have to understand is in that situation, are you getting what you need from the organization to achieve your goal? Is it taking you to the next step on your roadmap? What is the thing? If the next step on your roadmap is a promotion or a pay raise and they're not giving it to you, that's your answer. You have to go somewhere else. But if the next step on your roadmap is experience in a certain area, you're not going after the promotion or the pay raise right now. You're
Right.
going after a particular experience. So it doesn't matter how toxic the environment is, because when you come into that environment, you are getting what you need and you're not focusing on that noise. Right?
Yeah.
Now, I get it. Some environments, they're it's just,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And if that noise is getting to you, if that chaos is weighing on you, it's called cognitive load. If you wake up on Sunday morning already thinking about the fact that you have to wake up on Monday and go to work, you probably should leave. And there's nothing wrong with that. Companies should need to take more responsibility for the culture that they have if they want to keep great people.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Again, I have no idea why I started using myself and my examples as, to get this session like out like because I had really planned different questions, but I think this will be even more informative to people when they listen to this way. Because
Oh,
now they can put them in my situation, right? Because
yeah.
all of us have been in these situations, and I hope this conversation would make more sense to you all. And thank you, Erika, for bearing all it all with me because I'm pretty sure this is what happens in your coaching sessions, right? Where a person, anybody,
Mhm.
a tester, a non-tester, a girl, a boy, India, not India, is basically facing these things. And this is what exactly happens with all of us. So let me ask you one final question. Sticking
Okay.
finally my plan. Finally sticking to my list, which is the big white elephant or horse or whatever you may call in the room, which is AI.
Mm,
What do you think about AI and impact and its impact? And it's already in place. You may see the layoffs happening in the name of AI as if it were a god, and oh, this is because of this. Absolutely, no AI's reason or the
yeah.
intention of it probably, but the lamest reason of all times of all centuries, I think, is this one. So, what are your two cents on AI and its impact? And this is my final question for you.
I absolutely love AI.
Yeah, you do, I know.
I do. I do. I think it's amazing. I do not love the way that the boards and executives are responding to it right now. They are in a capture the market, right? They're in the race.
Yeah,
And they're saying we need to reinvest dollars into AI adoption. And they're cutting like 2026, Gallup's 2026 Global Workforce Report talks a little bit about this. It's a great report to read, but they're talking about the middle layer being removed, the middle layer of leadership. These are your people that sit in between the conversation of like your strategy and your hands-on development. And these are the people that understand that. And they're removing that layer, saying this layer is not necessary, right? Um, and the challenge is that you're now leaving less knowledgeable strategic people that have been focused on being told this is the thing that you need to do next because they're coming up in their career.
right.
So they're working on being heads down, hands on. Well, if they're heads down, they're not looking where they're going, and you're putting them in the driver's seat of a Lamborghini, and they're head down.
Yeah,
They're
it's like
going to run into
blinders. Yeah,
something,
yeah, yeah.
right? That Lamborghini is going to crash. I also think about it like quality. Quality has dealt with this our entire
Oh,
career,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
If you think about hills and valleys, nice big peak hill, there's a boulder. Quality has pushed this boulder up the hill.
All the
We
time.
have
All
we
the
have
time.
stabilized it. We have built structures under it so the boulder stays at the top of the hill. That is quality.
Yeah,
What happens every few years? Some technology shifts, and what do they say? We don't need this quality infrastructure. These people that are holding
yeah.
this boulder is stable, and we're going to replace it with this other stuff.
Right.
And then inevitably, the boulder begins to shake, it breaks all that stuff, and it goes down the hill. And by the time it gets all the way back down to the hill, they're like, oh crap, we need quality people. We need a quality leader to build a quality team, to build quality structure, infrastructure, concepts, processes, strategy. How do you infuse quality into the organization, get people bought into the concepts of quality because they're not delivering it well. So here we go. We're pushing the boulder back up the hill,
Yeah.
right? With AI, that's everybody.
Yeah.
That's everybody. That's product, that's design, right? It's all of engineering. It's engineers.
Yeah.
And they're saying we don't need as many people. We don't need as many um, as high paying people. And I think that they're taking the boulders at the top of the hill and they're removing all of these people that are keeping that boulder in place. And I believe that the boulder is going to fall down the hill and they're going to realize that they have to put the right people at the helm of AI. But it's going to that shift is going to take time. But everybody is now feeling what the quality organization has been navigating our entire careers,
Right.
right? It's unfortunate, but it's like, how do we shift? And so we just I was just on a panel with Test Guild IRL. Joe
Yeah.
was in Atlanta, and I got an opportunity to speak with some other leaders. And the thing is that we have to change the posture of quality. So if we think about AI and what it can do and all the things, all the opportunity, and get excited about it and not fearful, we begin to think about how do we shepherd this. So all the teams that are adopting this usually are doing them differently. Well, quality requires consistency. Consistency is driven by process.
Yeah.
And that's one of the problems that we have in quality organizations because they want us to go faster, but each of the teams are doing something different, you know? So getting like how do we change our posture in what we are shepherding forward? What are we're no longer championing test number of test cases, number of, bugs found. We're championing is the infrastructure there? Are the right processes in place? Are the concepts solid? Is the strategy being applied, right?
Yeah.
How is AI being adopted? What is the governance? Are you monitoring? We're holding people accountable to the conversation of quality holistically and not just as the step in the process. So I love AI, but it's going to require us to change dramatically, drastically, but all in really, really good ways if we embrace it. But we have to get bold. We have to get bold in our conversations, and we have to not look down. We have to look up.
Be bold. Wow. Wow. That's some way to put it. I think this conversation has been a roller coaster, and I think it was divine timing that it was meant to be now and how.
Yeah.
Like this, I hope you have been on so many panels and conferences and talks and podcasts. I know. But I hope this one was a little different,
I
and I
love it.
hope this one added some value to someone listening out there. And if you're timid, or if you're a woman, or if you feel guilty for the fact that, oh, I just can't say no, I hope you got your answers through this podcast, because there's so much more to talk. And let us know in the comments if you want to see Erika again on the podcast. It would be amazing to know that, and what you want me to ask her the next time, because genuinely, I had my questionnaire prepared for you, but to have a person like you, and if I on the runtime doesn't have the mind
Mm.
to, channelize this conversation, was the point of it. So I
Yeah.
did not realize how I became the guinea pig, or you know, like a life coaching session by just giving my examples. But it's so much more to talk like, so much more effective to talk like this rather than just giving examples, because
True.
I've been there, done that. It just doesn't make sense, and it
Yeah, for
leaves
sure.
people clueless. But when you talk heart to heart, one to one, it's there is a connect and people understand. You can't
Yes.
you can't fake that shit. I'm sorry, but you can't fake that shit.
No, I absolutely loved this conversation. So thank you so much for having me and taking the time. This was, just talking to a friend.
Oh, yeah,
I loved
likewise,
it.
likewise.
Loved it. I loved
Yeah,
it.
absolutely, absolutely. There were times when I literally got goosebumps when you gave a couple of your answers, but you do you and be the way you are, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people on this planet need people like you, need this kind of
Thank
an
you.
influential leadership, need that, leading by example kind of a person. So not
That
trying to
means a
flatter or
lot.
anything, just letting you know.
That
And
means a
if at all
lot. Thank
there are days, because all of us have, those ebbs and downs and hills and valleys in our lives. Maybe you
you.
can just check this part out and get some inspiration that, oh, this is how Erika is really, and
Yeah.
get back to your thing that you do.
Yeah. I will ramble and ramble all day long. So, but that
Thank
all
you.
right.
Thank you so much. Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
the wonderful guest that you are. Thank you.
This is great. I appreciate the invite to have the conversation.
Thank you. Thank you.